Are we?
We are. Oh.
Huh? Hello.
Hello.
What's
Sneak. Oh. Hey, Amy Baker.
Is she? Amy's already here.
Amy's already here.
Hi, Amy. Did you see her post earlier with her hair?
I saw her post with her hair. I know Amy's.
Pretty
You look great, Amy. Hello, everybody. We're back after our weekend of Monster Palooza.
Which was fun, and I want to go back, and I want to do that every weekend.
No.
I want to go to California every weekend and do Monster Palooza.
Hello, Mikey. You want to do Monster Palooza every weekend?
Yeah.
I'm sure Elliot would have something to say about that.
Well, probably. Can you imagine having to deal with that large of a group of artists every weekend?
I have a problem dealing with one artist every weekend. You walked into that.
I did.
Hello, my surreal art. Hello there. Isn't that a car sketch that you did?
A car? Yeah, this was done in the car.
You did that one in the car, right?
When we were driving back from
Osborne, right?
Osborne, yeah.
Good evening, everyone. We're not completely. Oh, we're doing all right.
We're doing good.
We're doing good. Your room is trashed.
I know. I've got to clean it up so we can do one of those shots that look
Those
like I
cool
never mess
shots.
up my studio.
That's right. That you have a perfect studio. You ready? I'm going to show you the pile of ideas. You guys ready? I walked in this morning. Look, here's the pile of ideas.
Those are just the ones I'm currently on right now.
Okay. Ooh, I tripped over a light. See? Trip over a light. The pile. What the hell is in there?
Well, there's some photographs of wings. Those are
Yes.
what the black and
See,
white
look,
things are,
we have actual drawers.
But I took them out of the drawers so I could put them there to look at them.
So.
I surround myself with them and.
Oh wait, there's more drawers over there, and there's more drawers over there. Drawers everywhere, but he puts them on the floor so that he can think about them.
You're gonna give me a complex.
No, I just go with it. It's fine. It's just funny. I find it funny. All right, let's look and see what you have here.
So this was just a creature that I started in the car on the way back from the trip that we took to PA not too long ago.
Yes. Ellen bought me a fancy thing for my phone, and I haven't figured out how to use it yet.
Well, we have a gimbal that will give it really steady video.
Yes.
But there's a learning curve.
I know. I haven't learned anything this week because I'm just tired.
Well, we were recuperating from Monster Palooza.
That's right. I like the... God, that's true. Don says you have to immerse yourself in ideas to let them germinate.
This is all very true.
That is completely true.
I have sketches that I've had, obviously, for years that, occasionally I'll look at them and pass over them, and then one day, I'll look at it and it'll just strike me and I'll start working on it.
It'll work again. Remember, if you guys have any questions or anything, just let us know.
So this is
oh, this is your beautiful new box.
Well, this was custom made. I normally use like a paint, a cradle board.
Yes.
Which looks like this.
There's the cradle board.
And it works great, but it's kind of cool to have something that's specifically tailored for your needs.
Look at it. Look how beautiful this is.
And a friend of mine, Mark Daines, who does incredible, really nice
woodworking,
built it.
Wait, turn it over. Show the little A.
The what?
The top.
So
look.
He even inlaid, like I have a signature that's just initials, and this is this is like crushed coral inlaid into the wood. He beveled the edges and stained the wood and sealed it.
Yes.
And then he put this
that's ebony
around it, and then there's a little groove in here that fits the ebony, and then added a small pencil tray on the side, which was pretty cool right here.
Oh, what kind of pencil? I think it's a Tombow Mono.
This, yeah,
Tombow Mono 1 to 100.
Tombow Mono 100 6B.
Don't forget the 100.
Yep.
He likes the 100 on there.
I
know, it's a beautiful.
So I'm trying to convince him to let me tell people so he can take orders on them, because you can make do with a paint box with the cradle board, but some people might want something that you know,
Looks
they
cool.
could like leave in their living room and people wouldn't, you know, it's like, it's a piece of furniture kind of. It's a little, it looks good. I guess you would call it artisanal. It's an artisanal paint box.
All right, I have a question. Or if you, he says, "Hey, Alan, can you tell us about your study routines back when you started, and now if you still do studies, or if
you know what?
how you study things?"
In terms of education or individual pieces, I'll do both. Education, I pretty much went to a 2-year college for a while, and then transferred to Middle Tennessee State University and went there for a while, but mostly doing the kind of stuff that the fantasy illustration. And then one of the teachers basically advised me to just leave school and go do that because I was already doing it in school professionally.
Mm-hmm.
And he said what I was learning there wasn't going to help me for that. And if I were to do it over again, though, I would probably find an actual, like an atelier or some place that taught like academic painting and drawing, like classical stuff, because I would like to have incorporated a lot of that learning. So I had to kind of take it on myself to figure stuff out.
Right.
Because they weren't really
Right.
teaching what I wanted to do in school. And at the time, nobody really knew to tell me to look for places like, Savannah College of Art and Design and Columbus and all the CCAD and all that.
Mike asked, "Did you suck at drawing at one point, or have you always been good?" Because I currently suck.
Oh no,
That's
there was a time when I wouldn't draw human figures. I would totally avoid them, and then I realized that the reason I was avoiding them was because I was intimidated by drawing them or whatever, and I sucked at them, and then I just started drawing them, and I was as long as you're willing to. I mean, if you already suck at it, it's not really taking a risk to suck at it a little bit more to get better.
Right. Exactly.
You know?
Exactly.
So,
Hold on.
What?
Oh, I'm just looking back here because someone asked me for Mark's info, and I'm gonna.
Mark Daines?
Yes, and
actually, you can give him his number, and you can actually text him an order if you want one.
Oh yeah, you
can. He said he would take that. So if you want me to write it, I'll write it up here.
That's true.
But most of what I've learned has been, I won't say self-taught because, I've done a lot of exploration on my own, but I do find people and stuff online to look at. Mm-hmm. So I'm self-directed. My education is more self-directed. Okay, what's Mark Daines?
Mark Daines. Yeah.
So it's Mark. Right? Mm-hmm. And his number is, I don't know if you have to add a one where you are, but 228 383
7940.
7940.
Yeah.
And he will. You can text.
He's also on Instagram.
He's also on Instagram. What is it under? Mark Daines Creations or something like that. But he'll respond to that, and I'm trying to convince him to, like if you could get like an order of like 10 or so of them, it makes it cheaper to do.
Yeah. It's Marks_Creations.
Marks_ on Instagram?
Let's see. Marks Creations. So you got to go follow him. He made us this table, the one right there in the middle with the green on it. And he just did a whole bunch of stuff for the Mississippi Research and Education.
He makes beautiful furniture too.
Woodworking.
We'll custom make stuff, and it's well done. It's very well done. So. He did a really good job on this, I think. So
yes. So your journey has been.
Yeah, I've did a little bit of school, which mostly they taught you process stuff, or taught me process stuff like screen printing and lithography and stuff like that. There was a little bit of figure drawing, and then I left school to work in illustration, which was what I wanted to do at the time, and then I just sort of started collecting books and magazines that would teach me what I wanted to learn.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of which, there's an article out in Imagine FX.
Oh, is it out?
It is out. Number 161. It said it's a journey into Alan's mind, which is scary.
It's not that scary.
So if you guys have never looked at or read Imagine FX, it's an awesome magazine. Iris is in that one also.
They did a pretty extensive spread with an interview and all that stuff. So.
With an interview with you and everything.
Yeah.
Start off, Idle Hands asks, Carrie Lynn asked, do you start off a drawing thinking of what you want the creature to have first?
Sometimes.
Like horns or jowls or something?
It's funny because I have, I don't have the same process for any particular drawing all the time, but I'll do a little bit of, like, I'll sometimes start with an idea and sometimes I'll just start. This one particular thing was because we saw these cattle at Glasburn that had straight horns.
Right,
and so I came back, and when we were in the car, I just like, I'm going to play with this straight horn thing, and it's just a quirky little odd bit of design.
This is like a weird bizarro. Can you see him good? Because sometimes
it kind of looks like a demonic water bear. You know what I mean?
I like his little hands.
But he's going to actually be something else, because I did take this element of design and do a sketch for another piece.
Oh.
So, actually, two other pieces based on this
on,
particular
guys.
shape.
Let's turn on the fan.
Is it too loud?
No, it's just cold. It's a little cold. Other people have
so, and this is just normal Strathmore medium surface drawing paper, which is, you know, not that expensive, relatively speaking, and has a good tooth that has a lot of texture that you can find. It really doesn't take any meaty, like wet stuff very well, but you know, there's other stuff for that. Like the Stillman and Burns Zeta series paper is a multimedia paper,
oh, it's good for the wet
but
stuff.
It's a smoother paper.
You love Stillman and Burns Zeta series.
I do. It's one of my favorite drawing papers.
Okay, Arbog asked, you said you search stuff online. Can you recommend something online or otherwise?
Well, it's funny because one of the things that I attribute to just diving into drawing was early on when I started looking for stuff online. I guess this was in like around 2000.
Yeah.
Right. Right around there, I think. I found those the storytelling drawing for storytelling DVDs that Ian McKeag did on Gnomon the Gnomon Workshop online.
Oh, Gnomon Workshop online is a really good place to look.
Yeah.
And Ian McKeag stuff is fantastic.
And I was struck by his kind of fearless drawing. He would just dive into it, and he would, you know, if you've ever seen him draw in person, he's a really nice guy for one thing. But if you've ever seen him draw in person, one of the things he says is you just, you know, you start with the really crappy drawing to get to the good drawing, but you got to let yourself do the bad version first to find the good version. Many people, you know, get stuck in the bad version of something and don't realize that it's just a part of the process. Right. Or they get stuck in the fuzzy stage of a piece and not realize that they're
remember, fuzzy stages can last a long time.
Yeah, and usually that's, you know, that's only about halfway through it, you know.
Right. Ian is fun to watch.
He is. And I'll say sometimes, I did some critiques recently, and I started using the word that something needs more refinement, which is just my way of saying there needs to be more work in the work you're doing.
Right. Just keep going. Don't stop.
Yeah.
You might think you're done, but then go for another 2 hours and see where it can go there.
I would say, in my opinion, the number one error that most people make with graphite is that there's not enough graphite on the board, and they're leaving too much white, because it's not, everything starts to look overexposed if there's too much white on the board, and there really shouldn't be that much white. I mean, it depends on what you're going for.
Right.
I mean, unless you're going for a super high key drawing.
Right. Celtic Watcher asked if you had did more angelic, ever do anything more angelic rather than monstrous.
Oh yeah, all the time. In fact, it's a strange concept, but very often a lot of the creatures that I will do for myself will look either grotesque or extreme, but what I'm actually trying to convey is a sense, like a lot of times they'll be more or less peaceful looking creatures, and it's because the idea of what looks monstrous and what looks angelic is purely a human construct, and,
right?
And if there were such things as celestial creatures, they may not conform to what we think of as beauty at all.
Right.
And it would only be their actions that would determine what they were. Right.
Which is actually a theme in a lot of your work, right? Just because someone's beautiful doesn't mean they're good.
No, in fact, that's a really something that's used as a ploy against people very often in the real world, where beauty is used to sell an idea that isn't necessarily good for you.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I would say that yes, I do sometimes do specifically angelic looking creatures, and other times when I do something evil, it comes across more, or an evil natured creature, it comes across more as that. And the ones that I want you to really look at are the ones where you can't tell from their attitude what they are, even if they look grotesque. Even if they have a skull for a head, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's evil. You know?
Right. Absolutely.
Ancient descriptions of some of the angels were pretty terrifying, actually. You know, the
True.
original like cherubs, those little flying babies, had they were part lion and, you know, part other animals, and they were pretty terrifying creatures in the old descriptions.
Are those Spain? We just jumped right into it. We haven't even been in here 10 minutes, and we're like, we're deep.
Yeah, I actually like reading. There's a couple of apocryphal things that kind of affect some of the ways that I describe creatures like that, and one of them is the Book of Enoch, which is interesting because there's a passage in the Book of Enoch that says, "Even now in heaven there are angels bearing savage weapons," and I always thought that was a beautiful passage. But you know, I'm not. I guess you would say I'm not particularly denominationally religious, but I do enjoy the. I guess you would call it the lore of angelic hierarchy and stuff like that.
So,
if that I hope that answered your question.
No, yeah, I have to work on these names because they're all crazy names. But as a young artist, I gave up drawing for a long time. It's been 2 years almost because I was so jealous that I couldn't find any improvement. And I've always dreamed of my art being a moneymaker.
Well,
and then he says, your art makes me want to pick back up the pencil, even if it's light years past.
Oh, no, that's... You know,
it's not really light years.
That's an amazing place to be, because if you want to pick it back up, you can pick it back up with a more, I guess,
more
you know,
intention?
No, he's actually in a more mature frame of mind to go plow through that part of it that's hard. There are times when you do have diminishing returns on what you look like, oh, I haven't gotten any better in 3 or 4 years, because you're sitting there looking at what you're doing.
Right.
You know, it's like watching, you know, a pot of water boil. People who don't know you, though, can come and go, and they'll notice differences in your work. And sometimes the difference between a good piece of art and a bad piece of art is like 2%. It's not a 50% difference. It's like a 2% difference at different stages. And so making small progress is still making progress. You know, there's all kinds of obstacles in the world to keep us from moving forward on everything all the time. And if you make any progress in any of this stuff, you should feel good about it.
Right. Absolutely. So. Someone asked to zoom in on the face. Don't know really where his face is. I think those are eyeballs.
It's face-ish right there.
I don't know if they're eyeballs or a nose.
Well, it could be either.
Either.
There was another one that I started in the car.
I love the
haven't
hands.
decided yet what I'm going to do with it, though.
Gosh, how was Monster Palooza? Monster Palooza was fantastic.
On IG the week after we got back.
Was it?
I think so.
I don't know.
But
I can't remember. I've got so many videos to upload, and I'm a little behind.
Monster Palooza is the most amazing show, and I love it. There are a couple shows that I feel really at home at, and Monster Palooza is one of them because it is truly an art show. It has makeup artists, virtual effects, VFX artists, sculptors, costumers, 2D artists, and it is centered around that.
Right.
Around all of that, you know.
This has been asked. Gentleman asked this twice. How do you protect your art and drawing pads during transport?
When I'm
shove them in a bag.
If I've got something that has a lot of loose graphite or is very, I'll show you something in a second that's kind of funny. But you can put a piece of paper between it and the other paper. But if it's going to move, you're going to lose a little bit of graphite.
Right. Hey,
and
Amy.
And you can see that right there.
Oh yeah, see.
So that's what happens when you travel with it, and just traveling it rubs back and forth. I didn't really notice it so much on this side that it did anything bad to it, and even if it did, I still have. I'll go back and play with it, and if there's something I don't like, I'll take it off. But I don't usually spray fix anything until the very end.
No,
or unless I'm going to coat it on a different medium and then work back on top of it.
Amy Baker wants to see my green toes for Monster Palooza.
Oh, are they still green?
They're still green.
Yeah.
They're still green. See my green toes? Green toenails.
I wasn't invited.
And the other Amy said she just got her tickets for LuxCon.
Oh, LuxCon is great. That's one of the other shows that I feel really at home at. Yeah, LuxCon, because it's.
Do we put it in a briefcase? Yeah, he has actually, he just got an etcher. Where's your etcher? Your etcher's in the closet in the other room.
It's put away, but the drawings actually fit. We usually put those in the protective envelopes.
That's true. Yeah.
Unless I'm working on it, in which case it's just in my bag.
Right. Sometimes he just has them in the bag, and If they're framed, I actually slide them into I got a couple different ways. I either wrap them in paper and then put foam core around them, or I have this water heater insulation, which is just kind of like bubble wrap covered in like a tin foil, plastic, that I wrap the frame in, which is a really easy way to do it.
Yeah.
Yes,
But
very easy.
we do take care of them. And we shipped everything out to Monster Palooza and then flew out ourselves. And everything survived pretty well.
Everything, yeah, I think it did.
So.
Might have had one bump.
So.
Oh, thank you, Ed.
Hmm?
He said the fact that you acknowledged and responded to him is amazing.
That's why I'm here. The whole idea is to, I don't like to try to tell people what they should do, but I like to show them what I do. If they can use what I do and play with the stuff that I play with, or not. But, there's so many different ways to do things. There aren't very many people out there right now that are diving into the traditional stuff as much as it used to be.
Right.
But
and you do work digitally sometimes.
I do. And I don't have a problem with digital work either.
Nope.
It's just that I don't like to lose the very real world sense of doing. I like having an original when I'm done with pieces.
You like the feel of the original. And Sammy asked, roughly how long does it take? Does each piece take to make? Boy, it can be.
Now that's a question about how obsessed I get over the piece.
Yes, he hasn't stopped with the painting over here, and I keep telling him to chill out on it for a while.
So I can spend it depends on my.
Sometimes
objective.
It's a night.
Yeah, because like this right here, I did this pretty much on the way back in the car.
Yeah,
which was about.
Oh my God, I have a video of him.
I probably
I'll
worked 6 or so hours in the car on it.
I don't even know if it was that long. Well, yeah, I guess so, because it was a long drive.
But I was working kind of like this. It was a slower process than normal.
This little bounce. I have picture of you. I have video of you drawing in the plane. That's right.
Oh yeah.
We had a kind of a bumpy ride, and he was drawing. Yeah. It was turbulent.
So, but. Yeah, anywhere from, to answer your question fully, anywhere from 6 hours for something that's like small. This is for full drawings, not for sketches or for concept stuff. Like 6 hours to, I've spent as much as a month on a drawing.
Yes, much to my
dismay. So.
Oh, Ugly Face Art is dealing with artist block. He said, I've been trying to draw every day, and lately I've been staring at a blank page and suffering from artist block. Does this happen to you? And
okay, I have most of the time my artist block has to do with the fact that I have a pile that I want to do and I don't know what to start.
Pile and bins and bins and bins. I know, I won't show them.
But the kind you're talking about just not being able to figure out what you want to do. Whenever I've had that, that's when I'll sit down and I'll pick a statue or a figure and I'll just do a study. And I'll just start to refine. So there's a part of the artistic process, obviously, that is academic, that is just learning the craft.
Right.
Right?
Being able to see.
When I can't think of what to do, I try to hone my craft. And that usually brings me to a different spot.
That's right. That's absolutely right. So. You'll start drawing one of the statues that's around in there, or a hand, or a skull, or
studies. And if it's boring, that's okay. Be bored and just do it. Go through it until you surprise yourself, and the hand looks like something maybe that you didn't know you could do.
Right.
But if you're in a place where you can't create spontaneously, then pick an academic subject and reproduce it, or do a master study. And hone the craft, and just let that carry you through.
Right. And if you do the one hand, and if you still don't know anything, then do the next hand, and do a face, or do whatever.
Now, it's an entirely different thing to not be able to make yourself sit down to work at all, which is, there's more to that than just not being having a creative block. That's kind of being blocked in different ways. That's a different depending on your situation.
Right. So. Right. No, he is. Let's see. He's not just using pencil or using some oil still. So this is the
you can show him that.
latest painting. He has a solo show. Whoop. It's completely.
It's not quite finished yet. But...
No, I mean you can't see it because it's
right.
There we go.
Here,
this is his oil painting. No, don't move it because I can't see it then. Huh? It's good.
Right. Okay.
You're
you
good.
Can see it now?
So that is got gouache underpainting, and then this is oil. And
go up on it a little bit. Can you get closer?
Yes, I can.
It's a little washed out.
A little bit, but that's just because of the light. But that's also an oil painting. So he... Yes. So he's also doing, with me beating him because he needs to do more oil paintings.
And I saw a question, I'm going to answer real quick. The idea about drawing other people's drawings is it is perfectly okay if it's a study. If you're doing something to learn how to do something, you're perfectly allowed to go into a museum or to look at something online and draw it. Just don't draw it and then say that it's your creation. Just call it a master study or a study.
It's a study of, and then cite who the person is that you're studying.
You notice I have Waterhouse out open on my desk because he's an inspiration to me mostly because of the way that he creates rhythm and texture. And I mean, I love the warm qualities of his painting, and I wanted to even if I could scratch the surface of that in my own painting, I can see it how it would apply to the work that I want to do. So if I really was digging into it and wanted to figure it out, I would sit down and do a study of, say, the fawn, and that's perfectly okay. But you do have to call them studies. You need to show that
and technically, you probably shouldn't be selling them.
No, well, I mean, the thing is that if it's a study and somebody wanted to buy it, I think that's probably even fine. But I personally wouldn't put a study out for sale because it's a study that's just for my own learning process. And if I learn something, I want to keep that and remember what I learned usually.
Right.
So,
okay, wait, let me say this. All right, our website is down. You have to email me, and I've been slack on emails this week because I've been tired. But the website is Alan Williams Studio. Our YouTube channel is also Alan Williams Studio. So you can look for videos there. I usually end up putting these up, although they're a little bit behind. It's like a couple weeks behind. And then we also have our Patreon, which is patreon.com/Alan Williams. And of course here at I Just Draw. So... Nelson asks, I have back pain and arm pain. I can't do artwork for too long. Do you have any pain ever? Wonders if he's working too hard. I think it just, it's totally.
Well, physiology is a very, it's kind of an individual and personal thing. And I think maybe some of the reasons why I don't get like carpal tunnel with my hand is because I use so many different size materials, and I always have one of these erasers in my hands, and I'm kind of doing this kneading thing.
Yes.
But even if you can only work in little blocks, you need schedule those little blocks because you can do a beautifully large, complicated piece of work working in blocks of 10 to 15 minutes at a time.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
As long as you do that a lot, often.
Right. Get up and move around.
I had a fortune cookie once that said, "Little done often makes much."
That's right.
And that's why I sort of, that was a really actually good piece of advice.
Hello, Japan. Oh, this is a Waterhouse book. So, is it James? What is it, Waterhouse? I don't know who it's. J.W. Waterhouse. Oops, wait, I can't see it. He is a classical. He is. He's one of the old dead guys that you should look at.
Well, he's just a person who's, for me, there are very few artists that I look at and I like everything they've ever done. But he's probably one that I like almost everything that Waterhouse produced.
Yes.
It has the same sensitivity to figures that Bouguereau and Jerome do, but there's more. It seems like they're less. To me, they're less posed. They're and I love Bouguereau and Jerome. I don't know if I'm saying Bouguereau or Bouguereau, but to me, his are the most natural looking ones.
Right.
And it's mostly because he was so adept at placing figures and creating rhythms and texture and color.
To me, it's also the tightness.
There's bits that are tight, and
then there's very loose parts.
I went to.
That's like a famous. Which one is that?
Everything he did is famous. But
I know. I can't remember.
I went to a show in Montreal that was the Waterhouse exhibit, and it's remarkable how you look at them in books and you don't ever really see what Waterhouses look like
until you see it.
Because the color is so different in the original.
Yes.
And all of this tight paint is so textural in the original.
It's gorgeous.
I drove 10 hours to go to a show, 2 hours, and then drive 10 hours back the next day.
I know.
So.
Oh, it says hello from Spain and hello from Japan.
Oh, hello. Awesome places to be.
I know.
So,
So we had a blast at Monster Palooza. And,
I would highly suggest going to that show, just attending it if you don't want to, try to show
Monster
there.
Palooza.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's just,
And you have to buy your tickets online, because if you have to wait in a line, the wait for Saturday was what, 3 hours or something?
At least 3 hours. And even the will call line was like 2 hours.
Yeah, the will call line was long.
Yeah. So, and it's a nice venue. It's,
Pasadena, California. And they also have Son of Monster Palooza. We don't do Son of Monster Palooza.
And that's in Burbank.
That's in Burbank, and that happens in September.
Mm-hmm.
No, his back. He's asked if your back must be in pain.
No.
I know. Look the way he's sitting.
Well,
It's
you know what?
terrible.
I think it probably hurts my neck more than my back sometimes.
That's terrible. But he gets up a lot.
But
He
I'll-
also doesn't sit here
About
for,
halfway through the night, I'll start sitting forward, and then at different times of the night, I'll move the chair out of the way and stand up all the way.
Stand up. You do. You do a bunch
So
of.
I try to stand up as much as I can, especially at the easel.
Yes, the easel.
Mostly because I'm going back and forth looking at the painting from distances. Mm-hmm.
No, you also walk a lot too.
I do. We go for, actually all of us kind of go for long walks and like usually at least a mile or two. That's not that long, but.
Here's a loaded question. Ready?
Uh-oh. Yes.
Matt asks, what's your opinion about the importance of art school / classes as opposed to just drawing a lot? Classes aren't going to work if you don't draw.
I think that if you go to art school, that's great, but you still have to draw a lot.
Yes.
I think today, if you're a good student, you can learn whatever you want to learn wherever you are there's a lot of
some people actually work better in a class than
Yeah.
they do individually online.
Right.
And some people are perfectly fine online. If you're, like you said, if you're a good student, that's exactly right.
Yeah, I mean, I've had 4 teachers who were, and I say that based on my relative experience with them. They might have been great teachers to someone else. But if I was a good enough student, I could still take what I needed from it, whether or not, and I don't necessarily think that you have to go through the expense of art school if you don't have the money to spend on it.
Right.
But you do have to find places to teach yourself what you need to know. Or you have to experiment enough to learn it on your own.
Right.
And that's
never,
the hard way.
never.
Yeah.
Oh, God, he drives me crazy. But you are never scared of completely fucking up a piece.
No, that's true.
To figure out if something will work.
Yeah,
Because that's happened before.
Yeah,
I've gone, no, what happened to this cool drawing?
That's a general philosophy, though. If you're not willing to
Yes.
mess it up, then you're not really willing
Yes.
to experiment on it enough to make it better.
Columbia says hello. Greetings from
Columbia.
Columbia.
Greetings.
Yes.
People from
Does he
everywhere.
draw? Do you draw standing too?
I do.
Sometimes, yeah, you
Yeah.
do. At your easel.
The
It's
weirdest-
usually looser.
Yeah.
Though.
The weirdest place I've ever drawn is actually on a train, standing, holding with one arm looped around a pole.
Oh, you were on Bart.
On Bart, yeah.
Yeah, you were on Bart.
Yeah.
It's like, what?
But,
Oh, he says he's fairly new to Instagram, and he's amazed at all the great art on there. I know it's awesome.
Don't let it thwart you or make you feel bad, though,
Yeah, he
because
says-
that's a lot of people usually trying to show their best work.
Right, exactly. He
So,
says, thank you for doing the videos.
Oh, you're very
Helping
welcome.
inspire.
And we'll answer any questions, even if we don't get to them here, if you email us.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we try. I try. Sometimes I miss them.
There's a lot of stuff online. Actually, that was one of the motivating factors for me to start really focusing on what I wanted to do, was because I started to see how many people were just digging in and playing with the work they wanted to play with. Because I used to go to conceptart.org back a long time ago. I think it's still there, and I think they're thinking about making a new version of it at some point. But I started getting into those Creatures of the Week contests.
Oh, yeah, you did the
And
Creatures of the Week.
I was
When
doing
you were
things
not
that-
doing Creatures of the Week.
I wasn't before that, and I hadn't even thought about doing concept art really before that. But I started doing that, and it was like I was playing with ideas that I normally wouldn't have thought of on my own.
Yes.
Because they had, topics. And I just felt like as I watched everybody do things, before I started that, I felt like I was getting left behind in a way. Like there was a lot of experimentation and exploration going on, and unless I let go of this idea that I had, that I couldn't get involved in, the labor, the annoyance of being online to do all this stuff.
Yes.
once you let go of that, you like find out there's so much out there that you can play with.
Yeah, you can do.
You know, and like I did a lot of digital work then too. Like I said, I love working traditional, but I love working digital at times.
You
too.
also will take and other people. You'll take a shot in the middle of a piece, pull it into the digitally, and play with where you want to put something.
Sometimes I'll use digital as a way of roughing through some concepts in the middle of something.
Okay, all right. This is funny. Since he asked, do you have any rituals like morning routines or something, and not necessarily art related? I laugh because nothing happens until he has at least 2 cups.
I have 2 cups of coffee before I start working every day.
Espresso.
And it's basically...
And he doesn't move.
It's a cup of coffee with a shot of espresso. And then another cup of coffee with a shot of espresso.
And then he sits there and he reads like all your comments, and he'll read all the stuff and everything.
So and it is a ritual because I feel out of sorts if I don't do it.
I know you have to do it. Oh my God! And then Valtressa, this is funny. This is a very funny question. Okay. Your desk is very organized. It's not organized.
Oh, show her the rest of the room.
Okay, his desk is organized. She says, "Do you?" I'm sorry. I'm not laughing at you. I'm laughing because...
She's laughing at me.
I'm laughing at him. Do you find having an organized space helps you with the creative process? And how much importance would you place on having a designated art space? Sometimes you can't have a designated art space.
If you have a place that you can make your own space, then by all means do that. If not, you have to learn how to draw sitting, on the sofa, at the kitchen table.
The whole time we lived in California, you were like practically in the living room.
You have to do what you can do where you can do it, right?
So I'm laughing, Valtressa, because it looks very organized on his desk. But if we pan back here, which we will do, look, it looks like a tornado. Wait, that's not the best part. Wait, I'm going slow. Look, what the hell is this? Often there's like dirty dishes here.
This is like an open junk drawer.
It is like an open junk drawer.
Except that nothing is junk.
No, it gets better. Look, the garbage, that stuff doesn't actually hit the garbage.
It will eventually get to the garbage.
Look, it's like this. We came back from Monster Palooza and everything just went on the floor. So we have the luxury that it's just a mess. Look, there's like paint on the floor. Look, there's my gimbal I'm supposed to be using and I'm not. So
what I'm going to say though, is that if it's important to you, then it's important. If it's important to the person, to have you just have to try it that way.
Yes.
I could sit on a rubble of houses and still draw.
I know. Yeah. You do. That's what you do.
So, but the thing is that when you ask a question like that, it really does boil down to not really so much what it's important to me, but if it's important to you, because that's what you're going to end up doing. You know.
Hello, Brazil. Someone asked about the textures you're creating at the paper.
I start with the side of the pencil so that it just broadly hits the tooth, and then you can see the
tooth,
the texture just popping
very
out.
Light.
Yeah, and then when I want to go back and tighten it, obviously that's when the sharp pencil comes in handy, and you just kind of tickle the places until it gets tight. So, but it's funny to me how many of the questions that people ask that are, they're all valid questions, but many of them are not so much answered by how I do it, but how you need to do it when you get to the point where you feel comfortable enough to say that to yourself. Just like I like doing creatures, and there aren't a lot of people in the relatively speaking that get into monsters and creatures hanging on their wall.
Right.
So it's like I have kind of a nice niche. I mean, I'm not by myself. There are tons of creature artists. That's not what I'm saying. But it's not like mainstream where there are literally millions upon millions of people that collect different art prints of different people. Right. So you just have to find that area that you enjoy. This
kind of leads into someone's question.
Yeah.
Matt said, someone who draws mechs really well might recommend drawing and studying construction equipment. What do you feel helped you get drawing good at monsters? Get good at drawing monsters.
It's mostly comparative anatomy. It's like studying real world anatomy and then deforming it in your own way mentally and redrawing it from, like you study something and look at it, and then maybe you'll sketch it and then redraw it from memory and let it stylize in your brain a little bit. And that to me is what I usually do. I don't really have reference for this.
Oh, well, I mean, you looked at the bulls.
But I did see the bull had straight horns.
Right.
But I just emulated that shape, not the horns exactly.
Yes.
Because they had those kind of, they had those horns that tapered out that kind of got darker.
Right, no, it was just the thought that was in your head. So Amy asked what was in the husky.
The what?
The husky thing over here.
Oh,
this is not drawings.
It's just tools. It's more of the same stuff that's out on the front of this.
More stuff. Look, I had this all organized at one point, but that
doesn't work for me.
It doesn't work for him. There was all pencils here at one point. Look, now there's like chargers and crap. Like, and then there is just gouache in here.
That's acrylic.
So this is his giant tablet.
Is where I keep like little
sponges. There's a whole box of sponges in there too.
I do a lot of painting with sponges.
He paints with these tiny little craft sponges. So
sometimes.
Sometimes you paint with a brush.
And that's oils. And palette knives. And the next one is like more pencils.
More curved. A curve.
That's a flexible curve.
A flexible curve.
Okay.
You guys, some people might not know what a flexible curve is. And a spatula.
Well, it's a
thingy.
Texture brush.
There's just more and more stuff. Cups, color cups. And inks.
And acrylics.
Golden acrylics? It's been a while. Maybe. More sponges.
And that's medium.
More brushes.
And graphite powder and sepia powder. And
sepia powder. Oh, there's a sanguine.
Sanguine powder.
Yes. So that's more of what was on beside his desk.
I have functional piles and piles that are waiting to be functional.
Oh, my gosh. You know what? And I closed the door.
Yeah. Well, that's the good part about having your own space.
It is that you can close the door.
You can make a mess, and what looks like chaos to the rest of the world.
Right.
You know where everything is.
What kind of paper do you use the most? That's Strathmore there.
For stuff like this, it's Strathmore.
Then there's
medium surface, 400 series.
Right. Stillman and Burn Zeta series is what you like. It's a multimedia. You could actually use water.
Paper, and then Stonehenge cream journals.
Cream journals. Those are the three that you use.
Mostly for this kind of stuff.
Right.
And then I actually, I work a lot on the
clayboard.
ampersand clayboard as well.
Clayboard.
So I started making textures with
this yes. Stuff. He has a Everyday Original coming up on Monday. Yeah, ask him where it is.
I haven't started it yet, but I will.
So on Monday, if you guys haven't known, Everyday Original is a website that every day has a small original from a different artist. His day is the 23rd. You notice it's the 21st.
I have an idea. I know what I'm not going to do.
I need it by tomorrow, please.
Well, that's entirely possible.
I have to put stuff on the site.
I know.
Please. Silverware organizers, yes. Yes.
Yeah, that's definitely, actually, that's one of the biggest finds.
The silverware organizers, lots of different silverware organizers. Do you have a lighting setup you prefer?
I do, and I mean, these are obviously
those are just Office Max.
But I got these tri-lights.
Those are Bowens, yeah. Bowen tri-lights.
Those are balanced.
Yes, we have two of those, and then there's just lights everywhere. Oh yeah, someone said I hadn't thought of using a big toolbox for art supplies.
It's a funny story.
I know it's a funny story.
I went in to look at toolboxes, and I was looking at this big, like this Husky thing, which they have Husky and Craftsman and all that. And I'm sitting there looking at it, and this other guy comes up, and he's looking at the toolbox. And
he's having that.
We're doing that. We're having a guy moment, right? So we were like circling this thing and doing that grunting ape speak thing that we do.
I'm sorry.
I'm having, and this is like one of the first guy moments.
This was years ago.
And as I'm standing there, Vicky walks up and looks at the guy and says, "He's going to use it for art supplies." And the guy just sort of straightened himself up like this, and he looked at me like, "You are so disappointing to me." And he walked away. It was like he totally
that was all perception. That was all perception. But I shouldn't have said it.
No, it was funny,
pretty funny.
I will sacrifice my ego for the laugh.
I know, perfect. Such good. The grunting ape speak. Yeah, they're like, "Oh, this is cool. This is cool."
Well, look at so you can lock the wheels, and then she says he's going to use it for art supplies, and the guy was just like.
Oh, Amy was trying to figure out a solution for storing your drawings. Now that you have, you know what the white things, aren't they? IKEA?
Yeah, those are IKEA.
These guys were from IKEA, and they weren't that expensive.
No.
But they are only so big.
Right. And then you can get, like the photo boxes that are really
the
heavy
photo
duty.
boxes you can get.
And then
he likes to overstack them, so they're like way too heavy. And then of course there's a giant steel flat file that was our giant steel flat file right over there. That's a huge one. It'll fit like a 22 by 28 piece of paper.
And we have another one in the garage.
Yes, I have to fix that one. But
or you can do that.
Or you could do that. Yes, there's how you could.
Put them on the floor.
I don't recommend putting them on the floor since the dog will walk across them.
And that's happened. I've had a dog print on one before.
Yeah, it's the dog. Oh, it's okay, you guys. Let's do our Patreon. If you want to throw us something on there or just follow on there, you can. Now that I don't have Monster Palooza, I wear a lot of hats in our little business here, right?
Mm-hmm.
I am the marketing department and the shipping department and the framing department
and
management,
CEO mostly, and
CEO, CFO. But you can
and sometimes
Patreon
and sometimes the entertainment
and the entertainment. Thank you. And entertainment. No, our Patreon is patreon.com/just Alan Williams. Our YouTube channel is Alan Williams Studio. Like our website is Alan Williams Studio. Facebook, some people still follow us on Facebook, and that is fine. I throw everything up on there too. It's Alan Williams Art.
I want
to change them all to the same thing.
I want to say too that we have Patreon where people can put money in, but we have plenty of places that you can follow us, and you don't have to pay nothing. You just follow and
you just
ask questions.
Whatever.
And I'll answer anything I can at any whenever I'm made aware of the question, or if Vicky tells me, or if I see it.
Yeah.
Sometimes we miss things. I mentioned this to somebody recently, that sometimes I'll look at an email and I'll answer it telepathically without forgetting that I'm not in any way telepathic, and then I'll get distracted and forget to answer it in real life.
He'll think he has answered it, but he actually hasn't. Which for me, I look at it and go, I need to answer that, and then 3 days go by and then 50 more emails come in, and so it slides back there. Music playlist. You know what? He does listen to music, and I was going to list out his playlist and throw it up on just as a post on Patreon for everyone.
It's weird, but yeah, I mean, I just have. It's not like you would think I listen to a lot of. I don't know what you would think I'd listen to, but it's probably going to be surprising because there's a lot of ethereal music. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of there's some classical stuff. There's soundtracks from movies. There's epic music from games, soundtracks and stuff like that.
Sometimes I put a veto.
Well, yeah, I've been listening to Agnes Ogle, I think her name is, lately. A lot of that because I like it's very emotive music.
Have you listened to the rest of the album? Because the rest of the album is really good.
Yeah, it is. And then I get into moods where I listen to The Wall for a while. It just depends.
The actual
Pink Floyd.
Okay,
yeah.
I was wondering, or just The Wall, as in silence.
No, I do that too. Sometimes I can't stand to hear anything, and I'll just be quiet. But and sometimes I listen to audiobooks quite a bit, especially if I'm in the rendering stage of something, where I just need to turn my brain off and just kind of zone into it.
Do you work on multiple drawings simultaneously, or
finish
one at a time?
No, I have usually
things that I'm ooh, finish this out for a piece because it would be so cool.
I have bits and pieces of things going on all the time that I'm playing with.
That's
what that pile is on the floor.
That pile is. Some of them are halfway finished. If we would just spend a fucking 3 hours on it. Pardon my language. And yes, if our kids cuss, it's because of me.
You're cursing for dramatic effect.
I am cursing. I am the one that curses. He never curses.
No,
he doesn't.
Not very often.
No.
That's more shocking when I do it.
It's true. It comes out of my mouth all the time.
Maeve told me that tonight. She goes, "Mom yells. I'm kind of used to that, but when you yell, it's kind of scary."
Oh my God! Yes. Someone didn't put the top on the snake cage, or put it on, but didn't weight the snake cage, and the snake escaped yesterday. If you follow me on Facebook, you can see that because I had to clean a room to find the damn snake.
he was snuggled up in a purse.
He was in a purse. What hardness are you using on that pencil? Someone asked.
This is a 6B.
Oh, a 6B. Yeah, you know what? When I met him, he had 9 H's. Didn't use them.
That sounded wrong. When 9H pencil. When I used to use nothing but those hard leads. So You stop whispering comments to me.
I'm whispering comments.
I like softer leads now. I feel like I've had a lot of coffee. Does it sound like I've had a lot of coffee?
You might have had a lot of coffee. I don't know. This is probably the first day we've actually... Yes, Amy Baker Shipley gets in. Giggity.
But anyway, so yeah, I draw with 4B quite a bit.
4B.
Which is it's still a soft lead.
Yes.
But it's.
Nelson Design says, one thing I really find important in art is having emotional support. And your wife seems great.
She is.
That's right.
She's like a superhero.
We get along well. Well, earlier we were crabbing at each other.
It doesn't matter.
Comments about
Even
us?
superheroes crab, and you're like the.
You were crabbing at me, actually. You were crabby.
I did. I was crabby, but it was only because the painting that I was working on, the other thing I was working on, wasn't working out right. It wasn't because of you.
Usually he gets like, and then there's also I do the. He doesn't find it funny sometimes, but sometimes he does. When I look at him and go, okay, yeah, you've been like mulling something over for
3 days.
3 days. I think I'll give you 3 days, 72 hours.
You have,
Tops,
yeah.
72 hours.
I get
like,
72 hours to experience the full range of human emotions, and then I have to go back to work.
Come on. No, it's just you'll be like, ooh, moany gurney art stuff.
Yeah.
Do you use the fixative? Yes, at the very end.
Definitely.
Yes. No, it's not that bad.
No,
I'm not that bad.
No,
But sometimes he needs a kick in the ass to get out of it, though, too.
Well, it's just I get that same thing that everybody gets, where you look at what you do and you go, I have a lot of ideas, but none of them seem like they're worth doing.
Right. Or you look and you just go, well, this just sucks.
Yeah.
This just sucks.
And it's really, the thing is that it doesn't matter if somebody has done the idea or has had that idea before. It's important that you do it so that you can learn it and have a direct experience of it,
Right.
So
everybody's done a unicorn. That's
Yeah.
okay. You can do a unicorn too.
And it's not about, I'm not a real big fan of novelty. I'm a fan of mastery. And I love trying to get better at something rather than trying to just learn something new all the time. So there's two different ways that I've always approached it. So there's a percentage of time that I spend trying to figure out new stuff, but it's never as much as the time as I spend trying to get a hold of trying to learn how to do something that I already know how to do.
Yes.
And trying to do it better.
All right, we have about 5 or 10 minutes left. There's some other questions. Let's see. The solution for smudging. This is a nice hand-built. We talked about this at the beginning.
So
hand-built board, but show them the makeshift one. Is this one?
The makeshift one is just a paint. It's a painting cradle board.
It's a cradle board. Turn it over.
Yeah, and this is what it. It's one of those you can get at like on most art supply stores.
You're supposed to paint on that side.
This is the gesso side, and so I just drop the drawing in here, and I get a piece of wood like this for the top, and just I draw on it like this. That's you.
But he wanted one that was beautiful, and so our friend Mark Danes, which I'm going to show you his Instagram account.
It's right there.
It's Marks_creations. It's here. You can follow him on Instagram.
And if you ever wanted to talk to him about custom making a piece of equipment, like tool like this, you can call him. He'll actually take texts directly at that number.
Yes, at the number and everything.
And he's a very good craftsman.
Beautiful.
And an artist himself.
Yes, so. Your artwork is perfect for a Tool album cover. Do you listen to their music?
I haven't, but I will.
I guess you better.
Yeah, it's funny because I listen to music so often that I don't really pay attention to who's singing what, just that I like it.
Right.
Just like I don't know actors' names, I just know their character names from movies.
You know that dude?
Yeah, Sam from Supernatural.
That guy.
Whatever his name is. I don't know what his name is.
I don't know. What's the last movie we watched? Well, we were in the middle of watching Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Raiders of the Lost Ark, yeah.
Before that, what was the last one we watched?
We were watching the new, we've been watching the new series, Lost in Space.
Yeah, but the movie.
Movie?
The
one, Black Panther. We went and saw Black Panther at the theater, which I liked a lot, actually.
Yes, and we're almost out of here, you guys, because it's almost been a ugly face art. Then also might be a newbie question. Do you start light to dark or mid, and then work lights and darks after?
I'm a weird person. I'll start sometimes with a black, like detail, like solidly rendered spots. Unless I'm really trying to figure out something that I'm going to plan on painting, in which case I'll start off with lighter sketches.
Yes.
I'll start off, and then I'll move from light to dark. But very often I do the thing that they tell you not to do in school usually, or pretty much everywhere, which is start rendering right away.
Yes, sometimes he'll do that.
But I've done it enough that I know I can trust myself to find what I want to find.
Yes.
Because I made a lot of mistakes doing it that way, but I still do it that way because it fits my nature.
Yes.
And so I got to a point where I can, if I don't like something, I know how to, I could erase most of this and do an entirely different drawing on top of it.
He does.
And this wouldn't be visible. So even if I render it,
yeah, usually I'll go.
It isn't destroyed.
That's so cool. That looks like it's awesome. And then you wake up the next morning and you go, half of it's gone.
Yeah, well, that's what electric erasers are good for too. So.
We will see you guys next week. Yes.
Thanks for hanging out with us.
Thanks for hanging out with us.
Yeah.
Yes, it's almost. So, new genre in art. Have you considered new genre in art? Like get out of what you're used to.
And what now?
If you're like totally getting out of what you're used to just for the sake of exploring.
Sometimes I do. But I find that most of it's related. Like if I wanted to do wildlife art, that's not much of a step from what I'm doing right now to me, except that I'm just using real wildlife. And I can use. I could take photographs of.
But it's always better if you do what interests you.
To me, it's always. To me, I can't. I don't have the option of trying to paint what sells because when I've tried that, it's failed.
Yeah, we don't do well.
So I only can paint what I paint.
We have a shotgun approach, and he just goes with what he does, and some people like it, and some people do not, and that's okay.
Which is a little different than when I do like concept stuff for film, in which case I'm collaborating with somebody.
Sure, yeah, then you work. That's different.
It's a different mentality entirely.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Thank you guys for coming. There was another question here.
I feel like I said a lot of words tonight.
You did. You were talking a lot. Yeah. Crazy. Sometimes he'll go a whole day and he'll hardly talk to me.
Well, that's because you know all my stories. Most of my stories.
I know all your stories. I know all your stories.
You think you do?
I do know all your stories.
Want to bet?
I know all those stories. I can give away. I can talk to you guys. Thank you guys for coming. I'll get these up.
You're gonna. This video will eventually.
It'll be on YouTube.
Go up on YouTube
at Alan Williams Studio. I'll post about it there. What are we doing? Oh, your Imagine FX. Imagine FX, the magazine Imagine FX. You're in there.
What is she?
With Iris and Jim Pavelic. Issue 161 talks about delving into your imagination, which is a little scary. Well, thank you. Everyone's saying thank you for the Saturday Night Live feeds.
Oh, and thank you for showing up.
Yes, haha. And I'll have my fancy gimbal next time. Then you'll never see me.
Well, no. All it does is keep your hand from shaking.
That's true.
It's not like you won't be in the room.
You hear me. That's enough. You don't need to see me.
I think I want to at some point I want to give away like some drawings on Instagram or on
a Patreon.
Yeah. Well, but Patreon, yes, but also on Instagram.
Yeah.
I mean, they don't.
No, all they have to do is go and comment.
Yeah.
That's what Steph did. See other artists. We'll have to do a post about other artists too.
Yeah.
You can't see my face, Amy. We saw your face earlier.
Amy had fairy glamour on her earlier, man.
She did have fairy glamour on her.
At least that's what it said in our post.
She's awesome.
But it was, it was beautiful. Your hair looks great. I mean, the rest of you too, but I mean, the hair was what you were showcasing in the post. I mean, don't take the hair off and send it to me. That would be kind of weird. But
she's not going to do that.
Amy is an artist as well, by the way.
Uh-huh. She is Amy Baker Art on Instagram.
See, if you show up here, we'll call you out.
Amy Jiao Tattoo is on here too.
Oh yeah?
I don't know.
Also a great artist?
Also a great artist.
Yeah.
Sometime you should show the technique that you did on the fantastic workshop. Yes.
Oh, I'll do the
Karina
next.
St. Martin. She's another artist.
Yep. Next week I'll do the graphite wash. I'll do the water and graphite thing and show you the basic stuff for that too.
All right. Okay.
So that'll be next Saturday. That'll be okay, right? We're not doing anything else.
Nope.
Okay.
We don't have anything to do.
It's a date. I'll meet all of you next Saturday. I'll have my coffee.
Oh yeah. I'll show him making his coffee. He's always like 10 till he's like, oh my God, I have to make a coffee.
We have a trademark Nespresso machine.
A Nespresso trademark. Registered trademark Nespresso machine. Because he has to have it. All right. We have 20 seconds remaining. So I'm going to end it now, guys. See you next week.
Thanks for showing up.
Bye.